recology bid for in a competitive environment, those rate studies were done, and that's where the maximum rates that you saw on the slide came from. So I believe the December ones are less than that.
Is that accurate, Lisa? I know you're involved in that
And
process.
well, the SBWMA staff assisted with the preparation of the December rates.
Right, and they've made presentations at the Environmental Programs Committee several times with these rates, and that's when the Environmental Programs Committee chose the rates to present to council. And obviously it was before we, and so we were all surprised when the rates came in higher than that.
Mayor, I think we're not asking exactly the right question. When you go from and let's just use the 32-gallon can, the most populous can, it was $45 or less for that can. And you don't have to you don't have to do a rate study, because that was the maximum.
Good.
The question to Rick, that he'll have to take a look at it, and maybe it does not need a further rate study, but you're lowering one rate and raising another. And it's a question of whether or not that falls within an overall rate increase that would initiate a new rate study.
And I can say for certain, going from the $1 to the $5 on green waste, I think we penciled out to about 37,000 additional.
Right.
And the lowering of the rates that are being proposed to the level in December would lower the revenue much greater than the 36. So you would not be generating more revenue.
So there's your answer. So it will not initiate a new rate study to go with the
Okay.
$38 for the midpoint can, and if you're directing staff, $5, which is a $4 increase over the $1 it currently is. So it's a net of $5 for each can over to, and there's only 780.
Roughly.
There's only 780 additional green cans above 2 in the entire town.
So you made the motion, I'll second it.
You want to say something before we go?
Mr. Mayor, Kevin McCarthy, Executive Director of the SBWMA. My understanding of the tweaking notice process is similar with Rick Simonson, which is when you put the notice out, you notice the maximum rates. So this is the maximum rate, the cost structure that you're putting out there. If you're going to set rates less than that, it's my understanding, I've talked to our legal counsel about this, you do not have to re-notice.
So we have a motion on the floor.
I second it.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Bill, was your motion?
The motion was to accept these middle rates.
I think it's true.
Oh, yeah.
The EPC rates with the addition of the $5. The Environmental Program Committee rates, which was suggested before they move on to the free portion.
Next item on the agenda is a progress report on construction at 297 Pulling. I think, Dennis, do you want to be the leader in this? Dennis going to make a presentation? Go ahead, Dennis.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we're continuing to monitor the progress at 297 Paulinas. The property owner was here earlier tonight and he did leave. It was, as he's progressing, and I spoke to him this evening, he's now gotten clarification and approval from my department as well as the fire authority to proceed. We started drywalling the inside of the structure. Some floor systems are going down. He has the interior doors in place now. seems like he's moving forward. I'm cautiously optimistic we're progressing, and I've provided you with quite a little bit of documentation that I've been asking you to provide to our office to make sure he is moving forward in an expeditious fashion. So, at this point, as we mentioned before, you're all welcome to make an appointment. I'd be happy to take you out there and show you the progress of the property and where he's at. He is earnestly trying to get it done, and I think it's a large task, but it is interesting to see him moving forward, and he is making progress.
So, you know, we set 3 months for the time, I believe, to get this project finished. And is he gonna make it or not?
Well, if you recall, our original discussion with the council was that we were recommending going to the end of June. And my understanding from your direction, Mr. Mayor, was to every month come back and tell you where he's at and get reports from him. And if he was progressing forward, you were going to continue to be patient on this project.
I don't remember us saying that part.
Okay. Well, I'm willing to do whatever you direct.
No, I'm just saying, I think we gave him, we wanted you to report first month, the second month, and then at the end of 3 months, I think we decided that if he hadn't finished it, we would set a meeting to start finding.
Very good.
So he's got 1 more month.
So he's got 1 more month.
Okay.
And I mean, I think, you know, it's finishing it that's important, not promises of going to finish it.
Okay.
May I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Please.
Why did it take him so long to resubmit his grading and drainage plan, and why didn't it parallel his original drainage plan?
Thank you.
Well, as for why it took him so long, I have no idea. We're pressuring him all along to, you know, as far as correcting things on the site, but, you know, always insisting that we had to have an as-built plan before it could ever get final, so that we could check and make sure that the drainage was in fact in the right place and going where it was supposed to go.
I mean, because it's a plan, and it's 2 years since he submitted it.
And I think in discussing this with the property owner, he's ran into a number of difficulties that have just prohibited him from moving forward. And there really isn't a good reason for it other than it just was time and money. And I think now he's in earnest. He's sold his current residence, and he's moving forward with this being his primary residence. And it's my understanding that everything's pretty well aligned now, that it's just going to be a matter of giving the effort to get it done.
You know, I went out to the property, and based on my assessment, and based on, I realize this is not a critical path chart, but my assessment, talking to you and also seeing myself and looking at this chart that's here in our attachment, is he's probably 2 weeks behind schedule. And so, you know, so that's concerning. But to get a better feel, I guess perhaps at the next council meeting, when we're actually looking at where we are, if you could actually do an assessment on this little, it's really just a Gantt chart, and identify, you know, do you think the timeframes are right, and give us your assessment of where he is on these lines. Some of these lines are running for weeks on end.
I understand.
And so, yeah, okay, it started and he had 1 guy out there. But whether or not it's continuing and it's going to get done on time is another question. So he did have, as you know, he did have 7 people out there on premise when we went out there, and it was getting close to 5 o'clock. My concern is that they weren't working on the main premise, which is wanting for work. They were spending time on the outlying building, as you know,
Yes.
which you know, isn't where the big problem is. So I'm not really sure that they're getting real good direction on how to get done and what to prioritize. But my assessment to the other council members, if you haven't been out there, it was they're about 2 weeks behind, I believe, on the schedule that they gave us just 2 months ago.
So I've been by the project several times in just the exterior of it, and it's very concerning to me about the grading and drainage and the whole landscape plan. I mean, I've seen how, you know, other how home builders, they'll put up a landscape screening like right away to kind of, you know, get the landscape going so that it becomes